Hello, my name is NJ Franco, and these are my thoughts on the Kane Chronicles, The Throne of Fire by Riordan. So, first off, this is book two in the Kane Chronicles trilogy. So, if you want to know my thoughts on the first book of the Kane Chronicles, The Red Pyramid, I'll be posted a link to a playlist down below for you to check out. But so, the plot of this book is Sadie and Carter now have to awaken the Egyptian god Ra by collecting three scrolls and completing the Book of Ra, and they need to awaken him so he can defeat the snake Apophis, because Apophis wants to swallow the sun, and of course that'd be bad for humanity. Now, many of the other gods are actually against this plan to awaken the Egyptian god Ra. More specifically, Horus, who's like, Ra, he's old and senile because apparently gods can actually age and turn old. But so Horus and many of the other gods are like, he's old and senile and he can't fight worth the crap anymore. He's like, you need a stronger, younger god such as myself. So I, Horus, I should go defeat the Apophis. And Sadie and Carter are like, well, according to Egyptian lore and prophecies and this, that, and whatever, it's supposed to be Ra that defeats him, so we're going to awaken him, despite the fact he's all old and stuff and whatever. So that's the main quest of book two, is to awaken the Egyptian god Ra, even though he's old, because apparently gods can do that, or at least Egyptian gods can. Also, along with this, Sadie and Carter now have trainees under them, and like I said in my book review for the first book in the Kane Chronicles, they got a whopping 20 minutes of actual magic training, before they just kind of went off and did their own OJT thing. So, but apparently after just a couple of months of OJT and whatnot, apparently they're now masters and are capable of taking on their own trainees. So yeah, they got a handful of trainees that they're now training. Some of these trainees are actually even older than Sadie and Carter. So yeah, but yeah, so the students have become the masters. So that's a little side plot of the story. So anyway, there's also a new villain in this book. His name is Vladimir Menstikov. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He's Russian, if that name didn't give it away. But he has been nicknamed, aka the Ice Cream Man, because he dresses in a white suit, so he looks like an ice cream man, I guess. Or also aka Vlad the Inhaler, because his first name is Vlad, or Vladimir, and he's got a horrible raspy voice, so Sadie and Carter like to call him Vlad the Inhaler, after, Vlad the Impaler, So he's the new, I guess, mortal villain. I mean, of course, there's Apophis as well, but this is a little side villain that they got to deal with as well. Vlad the Inhaler, a.k.a. the Ice Cream Man, a.k.a. Vladimir Menstikov. Also in this book, so Sadie admits to her friends, Liz and Emma, that she's a magician, which is something I, of course, mentioned in my book one review, that, in my opinion, book one, and actually just the Kane Chronicles in general, is, I called it Egyptian Harry Potter in my first book review. And here I am reading this. Sadie finally admits to her two British friends that, she's a magician. And at no point did anybody make a Harry Potter reference, okay? And I was a little mad about that, because I'm like, okay, here are three British teenage girls living in London in 2015, and nobody said anything about Harry Potter. I'm just saying. I mean, I guess Rick Riordan didn't want to mention that into his books because of copyrights or something like that. But still, I'm like, in reality, one of them would have said, "What, you're Harry Potter, basically," or or Helga Potter. I don't know, something like that. A couple more things I want to mention. So, also the goddess Taweret. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She makes an appearance in this book. So Taweret is the Egyptian goddess of childbirth, and she takes on the form of a hippo, a perpetually pregnant hippo. And when Sadie and Carter meet Taweret, she is in a nurse's outfit, okay? And the entire time I was reading about Taweret, this hippo goddess, in a nurse's outfit, I kept on thinking of Nurse Hallie from from Doc McStuffins, and I hope at least one other person watching this video has heard of Doc McStuffins and knows what the heck I'm talking about. And don't worry, I didn't, the only reason I watched it, in my defense, the only reason I watched it is because I have kids. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 13 now, but when she was like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, she loved Doc McStuffins, so I watched that show with her a lot, and that's how I found out about Nurse Hallie. And I don't know if Nurse Hallie in the show was somehow inspired by Towerette or what. Probably not. But I kept on thinking about her as I was, picturing this, anthropomorphic hippo in a nurse's outfit. I'm like, this is Nurse Hallie, basically, And so the very last thing, the book, in my opinion, ends in a little bit of a cliffhanger. So they do awaken the Egyptian god Ra. I don't think anyone's too surprised that was going to be the, end. But so they awaken the Egyptian god Ra, and he basically disappears into the sunset with Apophis, and I guess they're having like some battle. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. Now the next book, I should have brought my copy of it with me, but I'll put a picture up here or something like that. But the next book has a picture of a snake on the cover, so I'm guessing that's Apophis, and that book is going to be Ra finally fighting it. But it was kind of like, I'm awake and I'm going to fight Apophis and roll credits. So, it's just kind of, I feel like it kind of ended in a cliffhanger, but, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. I mean, it is, book 2 and whatever. But anyway, ultimately, a good book. Oh, and one more thing I want to mention. Another thing I mentioned in my first review of the first book, how I mentioned how I did not like the baboon, Khufu the baboon, okay, because Rick Riordan felt the need to describe Khufu's multicolored rump, and I didn't want to picture a baboon's butt, so I'm like, ugh. And I had mentioned in that review that Khufu, unfortunately, was probably going to become a main part of the series, and I'm going to have to imagine Khufu a lot as I'm reading this. And while Khufu is mentioned a handful of times in book 2, I'm happy to say he is not a main part of this story. Hopefully that continues with book 3. Well, my luck will come back. But at least in book 2, there's very little Khufu the baboon, so I'm stoked about that. So, anyway, ultimately, really good book. I'll be starting book 3 soon enough. I'm going to take a little break from Rick Riordan, read some other stuff. I will get to that one, and I'll post that review as well. But anyway, that's it for me. So until next time, remember, nothing in life is free except for liking, commenting, and subscribing. See ya.